always come across the drama person, the person that's overly dramatic. Not to say their points aren't valid, because they are, but really listen to the story, because they are actually trying to articulate something. They're just very dramatic about it.
Okay.
So from a leadership perspective, do you have any sort of tips on managing or helping guide those people? Because they can be very energy taking sometimes.
Yeah, so I think the earlier you catch it and navigate it, the better. And often if it's let go for a long time because it's hard to manage,
Yes.
then it just perpetuates and then it's much harder to navigate later. So I think the accountability piece sits in, it's great that the person's got big feelings about something. We don't want to poo-poo that.
Yeah.
That's also going to be a learned behaviour though. I get my need met, or I get heard, or I get seen when I escalate.
Right.
In the big emotion. And that's typically going to be able to map that back somewhere.
Yeah.
And that's what happens in the nervous system, by the way. So if we don't get met through regulated, connected experience where I know that if I have a need, and it might be different to yours, I can still go and have a rational, reasonable conversation with you, and I'm expecting that I'm going to be met in that.
Yeah.
If we don't come from an environment where that is pretty normal for us, in the nervous system, we learn a couple of things, and we learn this when we're babies. So say as a baby, I'm hungry and I cry and my primary caregiver comes to me and feeds me. I learn very quickly when I have a need and I make a little sound, I get met and I'm good.
Yeah.
So say I'm a baby and I'm hungry and I cry and no one comes, or it's a delayed coming. What does a baby do? Escalates.
Yeah.
Gets louder, screaming, whatever it might be. Primary caregiver comes at some point in time, feeds baby, whatever. All good. Baby learns, connection comes, but it might take longer.
Yeah.
And then if it goes into a more extreme state and we learn, try to get my need met through connection, doesn't happen, try to escalate, throw a tantrum, whatever, big volume, big emotion, still doesn't get met, then people learn to go quiet.
Right.
Internalize what they need, internalize having emotions or whatnot, but then try to figure it out themselves inside.
Right.
And that's the hierarchy of the nervous system. We'll always try to have our need met in connection. If that doesn't work, we escalate. If that doesn't work, we shut down.
Right.
So if we have people who arrive at a heightened space of trying to get their need met through that, it gives us information. Something in that person's history says we need to be in an elevated state to have my need met.
Yeah.
So part of the leadership skill set can sit down, and you're not going to sit there and navel gaze on people's histories. That's not appropriate.
Yeah.
But it's information. And you can go, okay, I hear that something's going on here. Let's regulate together. Let's ground. Let's take a moment. Let's take this offline together. And then as two adults, you start using this language. As two adults, let's sit down and have a conversation about what it is you're actually trying to express. And we're going to keep it as concise as we can.
Yeah.
We're going to keep it as relevant as we can. We're not going to get caught up in the story or the big emotion. We want to acknowledge that you've got emotion, but right here now as adults, we need to address it as adults. And then the person will learn with enough repetition in this situation. It doesn't get mapped across every situation yet because that's not realistic. Yeah. But in this situation, I don't need to escalate to be seen.
Okay.
And that's a skill set that leaders can harness for sure.
And that's really good information. Thank you. And so what happens though when they escalate, and then they don't get heard, and then they start internalizing it?
How do you reckon that shows out in workplaces? It can start to show up as low self-esteem,
right?
Low confidence. So the things you might start to notice as a leader, that the things this person was really competent in, they start to show some kind of withdrawal in that, or a lesser than. They might ask more questions, like things that you go, why are you asking that? Like, you totally know that. You're awesome at that. I know you're awesome at that. But when the confidence starts to get ruptured, they might start to ask things or engage in ways that you're like, something's off here. This person's losing it in that space in terms of their confidence. It can start to show up as things like, I'm taking extra leave. It's the quiet withdrawal.
Yeah.
It might be isolation in the workplace, actually. You might start to see people withdraw from their peers and their teammates as well. And there can also be a lot of ruminating that starts to go on in that space. And if people aren't seen, met or heard, and they don't feel like they can use their voice, I've seen it happen before in organisations where they're good performers, they're good at what they do, and then suddenly just one day they come in and they just go, here's my resignation.
They've just sort of given up.
Well, may have moved on to a different opportunity, actually, but it's this missed opportunity for leaders to be able to catch it early and go, what are we missing here? Like, what is it that you need? What haven't I heard? What haven't I taken the time to hear from you? to keep you motivated or to keep you engaged. And so the people who will start to internalize are often actually extremely self-sufficient, very independent, very capable. But when it gets too isolating in a workplace, they'll just remove themselves and go somewhere else and take all the skill with them. So leaders have this wonderful. Also, I'm working alongside somebody who I know is really competent and used to use their voice, but suddenly they're not. I want to address that. I want to go and have a conversation around that. Hey, I noticed that you're not piping up as much in meetings, or hey, I'm not hearing your contribution, or you're shit hot at this skill set on problem solving X, Y, and Z, and I just haven't heard your voice in that. What's going on? Be vulnerable. Say what's happening.
That's a really good signal, actually. Yeah. For me, it's the getting to them before they truly escalate and getting perspective.